Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are here Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to noon Eastern time, heard around the world by everybody and their mama, and I do appreciate it. Tariq Nasheed is here, and talking about my appearance on Sean Hannity and the Coons. Mm-hmm. Why is Alan West and Clarence Thomas, Larry Elder, Herman Cain, and others, why are they coons?
Because, again, a lot of these people are put into the limelight by the white supremacists to basically regurgitate the white supremacist talking points so that the white supremacists cannot be labeled racist. That's an old trick. That goes back to the meritorious manumission laws of the 16 and 1700s, where they would reward black people for throwing other black people under the bus. That's old.
And by the way, Elijah Muhammad was the founder of the
Nation of Islam.
Nation of Islam, and that's who took, according to what we read, took Malcolm X out because he revealed what they were about.
But we don't know that. But the white supremacists took Malcolm X out. Malcolm even knew that the FBI was following him.
Malcolm
they
said
were tapping
it was,
his phone.
Malcolm said it was from Elijah. But I don't want to waste time on that.
But Malcolm later on, he said that the sophistication of the surveillance was way beyond the means of the Nation of Islam, and he knew it was bigger than that. Yes, he did say that. Yes, sir. Okay, but yes, he did, sir.
Look, because of time. So the coons are the blacks who make it on their own. They think for themselves. Is it hard to believe that black people...
That's your definition, by the way. Your definition.
Is it hard to believe that there are black people who can think and do for themselves and see what's wrong and express it without being a coon?
But how do you think for yourself when you're regurgitating white supremacist talking points?
So I'm asking first, is it a black person who thinks and do for themselves, or
no?
Is it possible for black people to do that without being a coon?
Well, you can think for yourself, but regurgitating white supremacists, because you're regurgitating white supremacist talking points and you're not thinking for yourself, you're becoming a puppet for white supremacy.
Give me an example of thinking for quote unquote white supremacists.
Well, we're regurgitating white supremacist talking points.
Like
again,
what,
the whole
example?
Family structure, that's a white supremacist talking point.
Okay, let's deal with that. Hold on. Let's deal with that one thing.
Let's deal with that.
Is the family structure broken in a bad way in the black community?
It's broken nationwide.
In the black community, right?
In the black community, it is broken.
Right.
Since 1964.
And so why is it coonery to say that?
Because it's coonery to say that that's the only problem, and it's not racism.
No
because
one
that's
said
what you
that's
said.
the only
You
problem.
did say
it's the number one problem.
But you said it wasn't racism. You said it wasn't white racism. It's the black family structure.
Right.
But the problem with the black family structure is because of white racism. And also, when the black family was together, we still had to deal with white racism. So
why don't you?
My question is, why don't you ever criticize white supremacy? In your eyes, can white people do any wrong?
And I'll answer that, but I want to ask this. I will answer that.
Yeah, you keep deflecting, brother.
Yes, whites can do wrong. But my focus is to wake up black Americans to rebuild the family, to get away from the government, to start, as we did prior to the Civil Rights Movement, doing for themselves.
But we still have to deal with white supremacy. We can do that, but after we do that, what are we going to do about white supremacy?
What is the best way to deal with quote-unquote white supremacy?
Black empowerment.
And what is black empowerment?
Economic empowerment. That's one thing that
to build a family, build character, build your own businesses.
Build your own economics, exactly. Right. And we have to understand that the white supremacists, they've always sabotaged that in the black community. So that's something that we can't ignore. We can't just say, well, it's just the family we need to build up. When we build up the family, what are we going to do about the white supremacists out here? No. Trayvon Martin didn't get shot because of a family structure.
I want to just ask
Walter Scott didn't get shot because of a bad family structure. Jordan Davis didn't get shot because of a bad family structure. We're dealing with a system of white supremacy.
Oh, that's a good point you're making. Mm-hmm. Had Trayvon Martin parents, Michael Brown parents been married?
They were married, but they got divorced and he was staying with his dad.
Had they stayed together and had they raised their children in a good way to respect themselves and others and
so you saying Trayvon Martin got shot because he didn't respect himself?
My question is, would
you ignore it?
Let's do Michael Brown first.
Oh no! Okay, let's go back to Trayvon.
Would Trayvon have been smoking pot, calling himself a thug?
Did that get him shot? Was that why George Zimmerman killed him? Smoking pot should not get you killed.
Had they had a strong family and a good father they respected.
He
and
had a
followed.
father, sir. He was staying with his father.
No, he was staying with different people.
He was staying with his father. He was at his father's house.
But my
sir.
question is,
you deflected.
no, my question is, had they had good fathers and mothers guiding them who stayed together and raised their
Had
children,
he not been shot by a suspected white supremacist, he would be alive. Had he not been shot by a suspected white supremacist,
I'm trying to ask about the coonery thing.
Okay.
Had the family been tighter and stayed together and raised their children, would Trayvon Martin and others been different types of people?
Well, no matter what type of person he was, he
As
shouldn't
far
have been
as character.
killed. A kid shouldn't have been killed
answer
by
that question only about character.
Your character has nothing to do with you getting shot by some psychopath.
I'm asking, would they have been young men of character?
Your character has nothing to do with you getting killed by a psychopath.
Well, that's put aside. Would they have been men of character? Because you're
That's
saying
like
that we're
sir, that's like asking me if the
Why
people
can't you answer
if
that?
the people in Germany, if they just would have pulled their pants up, would they not have been slaughtered in the Holocaust?
Why would you answer that question?
Because it's a question that literally makes no sense. It makes zero sense.
Let me ask this. You know,
And you know it don't make no sense. It's a deflection, Jesse.
so you don't think
You
having
being messy, Jesse.
you think having a father and a mother together raising you and setting a good example is not a good thing?
I didn't say that. You keep
Is it a
trying
good
to.
thing?
It's a great thing.
Okay. Let me ask this.
But what about white supremacy?
I don't deal with white supremacists. I don't know what you mean by that because I've seen growing up. Let me answer the question. I have seen growing up with white.
You don't know what white supremacy is, brother.
I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay.
When I was growing up, white supremacists was alive and well.
Right.
And yet we did better because we had family, we had fathers and mothers. We were taught to work hard, manage our lives, and we did better then than black folks are doing today.
How so? How so? How did you do better?
Tighter families.
But you would get lynched at the drop of a hat.
No,
brother. You would
not
get
true.
lynching was at an all-time high.
Not at an
Yes,
all-time
it was
high.
at
But
an
that's
all-time
not
high.
today.
You
But
would
I
get
wanna
lynched,
ask
and
you-
you couldn't go. You were suffocated. You couldn't go to certain
I need
places.
to ask you this because when we
No,
come
you
back, we
deflected
got to
again,
take
brother.
some calls.
Okay.
Do you love do people who attack black conservatives? They're called coons and niggers and Uncle Toms and sellout. Do you love the coons?
Do I love the coons?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't. What kind of questions are these? Do I love coons?
Yes.
For what? Why would I love a coon?
Is that a yes or no?
I don't love no coon.
You hate the coons?
I don't hate them. I don't love them. I want the coons to get away because
you
coons
care about the coons at all?
I do not. No,
You do not?
I don't really care about
But
coons.
why not?
Because coons have always sabotaged black progress.
But suppose-
And we could have been out of antebellum slavery because we're still in a form of slavery. White supremacy is slavery within itself. But the first stage of slavery, which was antebellum slavery, we could have got out of it long ago if it weren't for the coons telling and snitching and being comfortable in that position.
But suppose the coons don't know that they're wrong. Why not show them love so that you can correct them?
So I got to hug a coon?
Because you're a pastor. You're a preacher.
I am, but I'm not
Should
trying
you
to hug.
show love? Well, we're not talking about hugging and kissing.
Jesus
but having
rebuked the
patience with them.
demons, and that's the coons are demons, and I'm rebuking the coon demon and the coon spirit.
But
just
you
like
don't
Jesus
love. Do you
did.
love the coons?
I don't love the coons.
You don't love the coons.
No,
But Jesus
coons are
loved the
evil.
coons.
No, but Jesus ran people out of the temple when
Back
they
in a
weren't
moment.
on top of their game.
Back in a moment. We'll take some calls.
Before we see it, you take it. Oh, make me wanna holler the way they do my life. Hey! You got to pay back. Revenge.
I'm looking at the clock here, folks, and the time is going by like 90, going north.
Yes.
I need some quick yes or no answers, and then I want to go to the phone for you, all right? In 1964, out of wedlock birth was 26% for black people. Today, it is 73%. Is that good? And is that hurting the black community in any way?
It's definitely hurting the black community because the white supremacists orchestrated it. So it is bad.
White people making them have babies out of wedlock?
They've orchestrated the family structure to be marginalized, and they've taken the black man out of the home. So the white supremacists are responsible for that.
What
by
is-
economic deprivation and other things.
Why is it that the black man is so weak that after all these years, he allows that to happen?
You tell me. You're
Why-
black. How
But-
come you allowed it to happen in the 60s? You're much older
No,
than
I
me.
mean,
You didn't. Why did you
not
let
as
it
a
happen?
group, not as a group, but individually. Why? Because it's not happening to me. You know, it never happened to me. When I was growing up on the plantation, we worked for ourselves. We never relied on the government. We did for ourselves. Let me
But
ask
you're
this.
black, though. You know what I'm saying? So you're part of the black collective as well, and that's a question that you have to pose to yourself. Because
But I'm
were
not a
you
part
too
of-
weak
I'm not a
to
part
let
of
that
the-
happen to the black community?
I am. First of all, I'm not a part of the black collective or the white collective.
Oh, really? What part are you from?
I am an American, and I love what's right, and I have the same love for all people, including
now,
my enemies.
America is only 200 years old. What were you before you were an American?
Before I was born.
No, but what were you before you were an American genetically? Did you come from like the Coontron Milky Way galaxy or something? And you came over on a flying saucer full of butter biscuits and landed on the plantation?
No,
Where'd
I
you
was
come
born.
from?
I was born in Alabama.
Right.
I was born here in this country.
But you say you're an American. What were you before you were an American genetically?
I have always been an American.
But before America's only 200 years old. Before
I
you were an
said
American.
I have always been.
I understand that.
I was
but
born
genetically.
here. But let me ask you
okay,
this.
go ahead. You're going to deflect, but go ahead, brother.
Right. You know, I was looking at, kind of getting a little background on you last night.
Yes, sir.
And I noticed that guys like you are very talented. Mm-hmm. And
You call me a radical on Twitter. What's a black radical, by the way? What's a black radical?
A person that attacks others and call them coon rather than coming together to work out the issue.
But you can't work to get an issue out with a coon, though.
But you can.
Coons are there to sabotage black progress.
Let me ask this.
Go ahead, sir.
And I'm a coon along with Kobe Bryant, Don Lemon, and others, according to this report. How am I am helping to rebuild families. I'm showing blacks how to overcome their anger, encouraging them to get married before having children out of wedlock, to start businesses, to get a good education, to love instead of hate.
But you
How
won't. But
is
you won't
that-
speak out against white supremacy.
How
you,
is
you,
that
you
holding-
ignore white supremacy and you make excuses for white supremacy, and that's the problem.
How is that holding black? Am I holding black people back by doing those things?
But you're not. You're making excuses for white supremacy, and you're giving leeway to white supremacy, and you've become the mouthpiece of white supremacists.
Am I holding blacks back though by doing those things
well,
that I do?
It doesn't hold black people back, but it sabotages black progress, because when the white supremacists, when they go out here and do things, they put you out there in the forefront, and they hide their deeds behind you or people like you. Sir.
Where is your proof that they're putting Clarence Thomas, Allen West, Larry Elder, Herman Cain, Kobe Bryant, Don Lemon, and me out there?
Because people who challenge white supremacy are not put in the spotlight like that. That's why.
So that's your proof?
That's the proof. The people that they put out there, those people you name, who
Oh,
we see
this is what I want to say.
we see all the time talking about so-called black issues. These are the people they put in the forefront instead of people who can really challenge systematic white supremacy.
Do you support same-sex marriage?
I don't care about that. If people want to do that, that's their thing.
But you don't support it personally.
It's not. It's not a part of what I do.
Do you support it personally?
If they want to do that, that's fine.
No,
don't
I
have a
know
problem
that,
with it.
but do you personally support it?
I haven't really thought about it like that. It's because it's not an issue for me. I'm not in that community.
How about abortion?
I don't mind them doing what they do. Yeah. If they want to do that, let them do it. I'm not going to protest
How about
them
abortion?
Abortion, that's fine. If people
You
don't want to have
support
a kid,
abortion?
I support abortion.
You know, I was thinking, and I want to make this point because I realize you guys have good talent. I love the Coon Train. I look forward to it.
And it's satire. It's fun. It's
Yeah, it
satire.
is. It really is. But why don't you take your talent, and you still could do the Coon Train thing, but why not expose what's happening, really killing black Americans, like abortion, for example, every day, according to blackgenocide.com, 12 to 1,800 black babies are aborted every day. And a lot of black people don't know that. Young black girls are having abortion like 90 going north,
I understand
right?
that. And the
And
abortion,
then
and that was
also-
the Planned Parenthood that was caused by the white supremacist Margaret Sanger
Right.
and all of those
That's
eugenicists
true.
and all these people. Yeah, I'm
And
very familiar with that.
70% of Planned Parenthood abortion mills are in the inner cities.
So why do you not
And-
criticize the white supremacists for orchestrating something so devious
I do
like
criticize that. We've protested though. We've tried to shut down the mills in the communities, and but we can't get you guys to get on board. My question is, why not make videos and films? Because people watch your videos. Why not go in the community and expose those things as well?
Because even if
you
we-
love
okay.
you love the blacks, right?
I understand that, but once
So
we
why
stop
not-
abortion, now we got to stop the white supremacists for killing people when they grow up. So
But
what are we going to do about that?
But you can take one step at a time, and you can put the abortion mills out of business.
White supremacy is the major step. We always want to take other steps besides challenging
But I'm
and
asking,
replacing
though,
the system of white supremacy.
Why not take your videos and do the coon thing, but also
Well, I do documentary films too. The coon
expose
trainers.
real white supremacists by exposing Margaret Sanger and the abortion mills that are in the inner cities, the black-on-black violence. Let the people
Which is
see
orchestrated
that.
by white supremacy. Black on black violence is orchestrated by white supremacy.
But my
too.
question, my point is, you have great talent.
Yes, sir.
You can impact them by waking them up,
I do.
allowing them to see those things too. And once they're educated about those things, maybe more black people get out there and stop that. Why not do that?
But I can do that, and I do that. I do that all the time. But then
You
after
did
we do
things
that,
on
I do that.
abortion?
I talked about abortion in my
No, have you
documentaries.
done-
I have.
you
In
done
my
video on-
Hidden Colors documentaries, we talked about Margaret Sanger and abortion and Planned Parenthood. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And after we talk about abortion, we still got to go right back to white supremacy because that's the
Because
main
you're right
culprit.
about Margaret Sanger.
Right.
I want to get some calls in. I can go on and on.
Well, I
with
swear,
you.
you will change the subject. When we start talking about white supremacy, you change the subject.
Let's go.
Jesse.
I'm not changing. I'm looking
Boy,
at the
you are
clock. I
messy,
have on a
Jesse.
minute.
Jesse,
Let's
so
go to
messy.
Kevin out of
Go ahead.
Arizona. Kevin, you're out. See,
We got the
it's
music.
a break time.
Man.
Hold on, Kevin. We'll come back to you. We're going to have you back. That's what's needed.
Yes.
Okay. Back in a moment, folks.